What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again today, covering the season preview for the Vegas Golden Knights. Again, a day behind schedule, but we're in the final three previews. I want to get this one up today. I want to try to get another one up today, and then finish it off tomorrow with the final season preview. Before getting into some other preseason content, which I'm excited for. So, starting with the Vegas Golden Knights, like Seattle, I put on all their seasons on the board, which we'll get to later. Their GM is Kelly McCrimmon, who's in year 7 after he took over for George McPhee after he went to the president role. Coach is Bruce Cassidy, who's in now year 4, which is hard to believe because it feels like he just got there. It's a very deep team. I mean, how can you argue with that? Barbashev, $5 million until 2028. Jack Eichel, $10 million until 2026. They have extension talks in the works. Mitch Marner, the big fish of free agency, $12 million until 2033 for the big Mitch Marner. We'll see how he does in Vegas, and if him and Eichel kind of become a new dynamic duo in the league. Riley Smith, $2 million until 2026. William Karlsson, $5.9 until 2027, and Mark Stone, $9.5 until 2027 as well. I think these lines definitely can be switched around a bit. I don't think Hertl ends up on the third line. I don't think Smith ends up on the second line. Dorofeyev had 35 goals last year. You want him in the top 6. So I think those can get switched around a bit. And Karlsson probably is the third line center. Speaking of the third line, Saad, $2 million until 2026 as well. Hertl, $6.75 million until 2030, and Dorofeyev, $1.835 million until 2026, where he is an RFA. Howden, $2.5 million until 2030. Sissons comes over from Nashville, $1.428 million until 2026, and Kolasar, $2.5 million until 2028. Not a lot of forward depth. Alex Holtz is an RFA, and in an impending trade for Rasmus Anderson, which I'm expecting he'll go to Vegas. I think Holtz has to be a part of that, just as a young player to go back the other way for sure. Cole Schwindt, RFA in 2026. Ronberg, Lavoie, Reinhart, and then Trevor Connolly's the prospect they have coming up. Surprisingly, haven't traded him yet. They notoriously trade all their first-round picks. Connolly's been signed. He's an RFA in 2028. We'll see what happens there. Looking at the defense, McNabb, $3.65 million until 2028. $7.425 million for Theodore until 2031. Hanifin, $7.35 million until 2031. Whitecloud, $2.75 million until 2028. Lauzon, $2 million until 2026. And Korczak, $825,000 until 2026. But he has signed an extension, $3.25 million until 2030. Defensive depth, you have Ben Hutton, who's got $975,000 until this season. Megna and Coughlin, so for some depth there. Guys can fill in the lineup in case of injuries. And looking at the goaltending, you have Aiden Hill, $6.25 million until 2031, and Schmid, who's an RFA in 2026. I think Schmid's a good enough backup goaltender in this league, so they move on from Samsonov and roll with Schmid. They save some cap space there, so I think it's a good move on Vegas' part. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they went after Carter Hart now, since there seems to be a rumor going around he's interested in. There's 2 teams really in on him. Both in the West. One in the Central, and one in the Pacific. Apparently, it's not Edmonton from what I've heard. So, if it's possibly, Vegas could use some extra goaltending depth. Does Hart find his way into the backup role of this team? Speaking of additions and subtractions, Marner, Sissons, Lauzon, the big 3 additions for the Vegas Golden Knights. Subtractions, although not officially, Pietrangelo is basically retired is what it seems like. He's going to be a big part of that blue line that's unfortunately not going to be there. He had a nice long career, but just the way it's going, it doesn't look like he's going to be coming back. And that's a shame, because imagine Pietrangelo in that lineup. Yes, they'd be over the cap, but still, just a cool idea to think about. You have Nick Waugh, who was traded for Marner. Tanner Pearson goes to Winnipeg. Samsonov, has he signed anywhere yet? I don't think so. I don't recall. Olofsson goes to Colorado, and Nick Hague was traded to Nashville. Another defenseman that I'm guaranteed they wish they could keep around, but they have Korczak coming up. Lauzon they acquire from Nashville to replace Hague. McNabb, Theodore, Hanifin, Whitecloud. Whitecloud is ready to take that next step up as well. So Pietrangelo and Hague it was okay to move on from them at this point. They finished first in their division last year. I guarantee you they're probably going to finish first in this year as well. Then you got LA, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Anaheim, Seattle, San Jose. So overall, they have a pretty good chance of winning the division again. Now, looking at their recent history, and by recent history I mean all of their history, 2017-18, they come into the league as an expansion team. 51, 24, and 7, 109 points. Shatters records all over the board for an expansion team. They finish 5th in the league that season. They go all the way to the Stanley Cup final, but they lose in 5 games to Washington. 2018-19, they fall back a bit. 43, 32, and 7 for 93 points. 15th in the league that season, and they lose in very controversial fashion to San Jose in round 1. I'm still mad about that personally. In no way was that a 5-minute major. 2 minutes was even a... 2 minutes was the right call. It's debated whether I think that should even be a penalty. At most, it's interference. But it was just a ridiculous call at the time, and now there's a reason we have rules for that. 2019-20, 39, 24, and 8, 86 points, 7th in the league that season. I had them. I'm pretty sure I had them not going to the final that season. In my, but I remember I had them going. I want to say I had them going decently far, but I think I had them losing in the 2nd or 3rd round because I remember I had Colorado winning it that season. But they were the 3rd team in the league going in the West going into the break. Then they won the round robin, so they were first. They had the first seed. I remember they beat Chicago that year, which my 2 favorite teams playing each other was a bit lopsided to say the least. Then they ended up losing in the conference finals to Dallas that season in 5. If any teams had this team's number, it's Dallas, and they've beaten Dallas once too. 2021, 40, 14, and 2, 82 points. They're first in the league, but they don't win the President's Trophy because Colorado won the tiebreaker with more regulation wins. But this was the year I had them going to the final. I had them winning it all, and then they played Montreal in the conference final. Game 3 sticks out in my head like a needle in my head. I'll never forget that Game 3. I was in Vegas, and they blew it that year. 2022, 43, 31, and 8, 94 points. More points than they had in 2019 by 1, but they're 17th in the league, and they missed the playoffs for the only time in this team's history. And that was because the team was just injured to hell and back. And 2023, they proved that, yeah, it was a one-off. 51, 22, and 9, 111 points, 4th in the league that season, and they win the Stanley Cup over the Florida Panthers in 5 games. 2024, 45, 29, and 8, 98 points, 14th in the league, and they lose in 7 to Dallas in the first round in a very good, hard-fought series. 2025, 50, 22, and 10, 110 points for 3rd in the league, but Edmonton got their revenge as they went back to the final as they took out Vegas in 5 games. And it really could have been 4 the way Stuart Skinner was playing and the way Edmonton was playing in that series. Riley Smith got a goal in the last seconds of Game 3 to make it a 4-1 series, or make it a 4-1 series instead of a 4-0. Anyway, guys, that's Vegas. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. Do you think the additions of Mitch Marner will get this team over into another Stanley Cup territory? I would think they had to be favorites. Just looking at this team, being a fan of this team, although they're my 2nd favorite team, I think they have a pretty good chance at winning it all this year. I would say this is one of the years where I'd say, yeah, this team could definitely win it all, and I expect them to win it all. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video anyway, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.